Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rider Ramblings. Just missed the lights, never mind. It's a beautiful day, it really is. Today I thought I would do a review of the Dunlop RoadSmart IV tyres that are on this bike. As we've done over 1,000 miles now on them, mainly on country back roads, but also in town, and a little bit, and I do mean a little bit, probably about 20 miles or so, 30 miles or so, on dual carriageway. But before I do that, I've had this horrible sore throat that's going around France at the moment, which is one of the reasons you didn't get the video on Friday. It's quite simply I couldn't really speak. Right, okay, so the TLDR, for those of you who want to know about these tyres, are, yes, they're very good. They are. I like them a lot. But the question is, are they better than the Michelin Road Series? And the answer to that is, yes they are, and no they're not. Which of course doesn't help anybody at all. So I need to explain. As I mentioned, I've done a lot of mileage out in the countryside, on small, uneven roads, back roads, country lanes, farm lanes, this type of thing. It's where I like to go on the bike. I'm not a great fan of motorways on motorcycles. I will use them if I absolutely must, but normally I won't. So most of the riding has either been done around town like we are now, or out in the country. As I say, we've done about 30 or so miles on motorways. So I'll talk about the motorways first of all. Rock solid, absolutely rock solid. Fine if you're a motorway rider, these will be absolutely fine for you on that. But that's not what they're designed for. And that's the important thing. They're not designed for motorways. They're designed for sport touring, with the emphasis more on the sport. And they have a very sporty feel. They turn in quickly. They feel excellent in the corners. Absolutely excellent in the corners. They accelerate well, that type of thing. But are they as good as the Michelin Road Series? Now, the reason, and I'm going to tell you this right now, I am a Michelin Road Series fanboy for the sport touring, should I say, and the touring motorcycles. As far as I'm concerned, they're probably the best tyre for touring motorcycles, and so on. So why did I buy the Dunlop RoadSmart IV? Because if I'm such a fanboy, surely I would have gone for the Road 6. And the reason is that these tyres are at the moment better at not squaring off than the Michelins. The Michelins, after about 4,000 miles, certainly the front had squared off quite considerably, and turning into corners was actually quite an interesting experience. Oh, this looks interesting. Right. There's a piece of road further on here, and it actually became quite difficult to take two of the turns on this piece of road at 20 miles an hour, 30 kilometers an hour on this piece of road. As I say, we're not going quickly, and the slow speed on the Michelin Road 5s, as I say, once they'd squared off, was unpleasant, shall we say. At high speed you wouldn't notice it very much because, or higher speeds should I say, because quite simply you weren't turning the handlebars, which you have to do at lower speeds. You were just leaning the bike over. Right, so that's why I decided to go for the RoadSmart, because people said that they were much better. They didn't square off as much. Now, one of the things I noticed about the RoadSmart, and I've mentioned this earlier, is that they turn in really well. The steering is much more like a sports bike. Much quicker steering. It's a bit like having a sports bike setup where you've got the smaller front wheel, and so therefore a very quick turn in. But what are they like to ride? Let's say in the countryside, they're fine riding around in the countryside. They're absolutely fine. And there are two things that I would say that detract from this. Now, I would say that these tyres are better for dry weather riding, and that type of thing, but they don't have the grip of the Michelin. And that's caught me out 3 times so far. 3 times so far. And I'll explain that. What's going on here? Come on, Charlie. What have we got? 𝗏𝗏. Why have we got 𝗏𝗏? Excuse me a moment. I see the road is blocked. Come on, one of you has to go. Come on. Come on, 𝗔𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Decide what you're going to do. I did want to actually go down there, never mind. Right, where was I? Ah, yes. The, I'm going to go a different way through town, unfortunately, which I don't like. So I got caught out 3 times. Now, the number of times I've actually used ABS on any bike can be counted on the fingers of one hand, and possibly, well, not quite the thumbs of one hand, but certainly the fingers of one hand. And having been a dispatch rider, I'm quite good at braking and knowing the limits and feeling the tyre limits and things like that. And so very rarely use ABS. But I've managed to actually fire the ABS on this twice with these tyres. Now, I'm 100% certain that the front tyre had not locked up. I'm 100% certain of that. And what I believe is that the idiot I'm 100% certain, and what was happening is I was getting close to it because and so the ABS was nannying me and kicking in before it was necessary. Oh dear, they bloody blocked it. I was hoping I'd get round that piece. So, I've managed to activate the ABS twice, which is, as I say, a rare occurrence for me. Very rare occurrence. So my two previous ABS lockups have now actually gone to 4. My opticians are just down here, my ophthalmologist, believe it or not, sorry. So I've actually now gone from 2 in my life, ABS lockups, or ABS kicking in, to 4 ABS kicking in and 4 ABS. And I've actually managed to get the traction control to kick in as well, which is a very rare occurrence, because as I say, it's not something that I think I've done it once in the wet on the Bridgestones. So I'm quite prepared to say that these tyres don't have the same sort of grip that the Michelins have. So it depends what you want from a tyre, really. It depends on whether you're prepared to have a little less grip, which for me on these I'm prepared to accept, because I don't use it to commute. I don't use this bike to commute. The other bike, the 𝗕𝗷𝗿𝗵𝗆, is my commuter bike. So this is used for fun. And now that I know that the grip is not as good, right, this set of curves here is where the Michelins do not perform very well once they've got about 4,000 miles on them. In fact, they perform terribly, and you can actually feel the bike falling into the corners on this set of curves. And as you can probably see, I'm only doing, 25 kilometers an hour, which is 15 miles an hour. And this one in particular, that's lovely. That's lovely. The Michelins really make a dog's dinner of that one there in particular. So, what am I going to say about them? I'm running the same pressures in these as I am in the Michelins. The wear seems to be very good. They don't seem to have lost very much. But I will say that when you're braking hard, and you think you've just before the limit the ABS is starting to kick in, so that gives me the impression that the tyre is actually starting to lose traction. Now, as I say, it wasn't slipping, it wasn't losing traction, and I know I can brake harder than that on the Michelins. I know I can. And as I say, the second thing is that I've had the traction control kick in on dry cobbles, for all things. Now, in France there are a lot of cobbled streets, and I've never had the traction control come in on cobbled streets before on this bike. The other bike doesn't have traction control, it just has ABS. But it's come in twice, the traction control on cobbled streets, which leads me to believe that the grip is not quite as good. So, if you want a sportier tyre that has good grip, then these RoadSmart IVs are very good. The feel is excellent on the bike. It's amazing, the feel. But if you want better grip, but a tyre that squares off quicker, then go for the Michelins. So I will be putting the Road 6 onto the 𝗕𝗹𝗹𝗃. That needs new tyres before it goes for its MOT. So I will be putting Road 6s on the 𝗕𝗹𝗹𝗃, simply because I use that around town. I don't use it for the long runs, which this one is used for. So I hope that's been of some help if you're deciding which one to go for. So in a nutshell, if you're commuting, Michelin Road Series. If you're wanting sports touring, then I would probably recommend these. Just bear in mind that you can't brake quite as hard, which usually means that you probably have to be a little bit more careful in the corners in the wet. Though I haven't noticed any problem with that at all yet, but then I'm not aggressive in the corners in the wet. Okay, so please like, comment, share and subscribe, and give me your thoughts about tyres. Everybody has thoughts about tyres. As I say, I am a Michelin fanboy, so for me to put something else on, there had to be something wrong. And what was wrong with the Michelins was quite simply the fact that they squared off, and then turning into corners was at slow speeds was not pleasant. So, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.